Alright, I've been spending hours trying to make a perfect video and I'm kind of tired. It's in short on time, so I'll keep this short. We're going to show you how to create a website with HTML code and launch it online so that you can share it with others. And you can update it however you like and display your own unique personality with it over time. So let's get started. So first I'm going to open up Notepad, because you can write all your code in plain text in Notepad on Windows. On Mac you would use text edit. And yeah, I just want to show you that code ultimately isn't necessarily anything fancy. So I'm going to write hello world. Save this as index.html. Make sure the type is not .txt, but all files. I'm going to save it there and open up where I saved it. In this case it's downloads. I'm going to double click it so that it opens up in my default web browser. In this case it's opening up Chrome. And you can see that, whoops, closing this. Yeah, you can see there's nothing special. This is not like actual code. What HTML does is it allows you to mark up code. Markup is the M in HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext means clickable text, interactable text. And then markup means that you can mark things up. So in this case, I'm going to mark it up with the B tag, which looks like that, the angle brackets, and close it with a /B. Open is without the slash, closing includes a slash. The angle brackets are right beside the M key. And I'm going to save this. Guess what it does? When I refresh by pressing Control R, now it's bold, right? Alright, so I'm going to move this around so we can see both things at the same time. There's actually a special heading tag. Oftentimes you want to have a heading for different pages or different sections of your code. I'm going to save it. There, it's huge heading. H1 is the top level heading and it goes up to 6. So you can have H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. And then we can create a paragraph tag, or paragraph element I should say. Element is the whole thing. Like this whole thing is an element. This particular thing is a tag, open tag, close tag. And this is the children of the element. So I'm going to put just welcome to my world or website. There, welcome to my website. I'm going to also add a title to this web page or website. Web page in particular, because this is only just one page. Title Thames Web. Getting too tense. Remember to adopt good posture. When I refresh this, you're gonna see this thing change, and this is useful for seeing the names of the different tabs you have open. And you can, when you bookmark it, it will also be reflected in the name here. So yeah, this is like as basic a website as you can have. And let's put it online. GitHub.com. Yeah, so this is nope. I wanted to show you more of the web page. So it's the most popular website for hosting your code. You can put all of the code you write onto GitHub, and it will store it safely and securely. You can store them in publicly or privately if you don't want people to see certain code in certain projects, right? And GitHub was acquired by Microsoft a few years ago, so they're not going away anytime soon, and they were quite successful before that as well. So I'm going to sign in. My username is Latam. And in my case, I have two-factor authentication set up. So I need an app on my phone for a code to sign in for security. A lot of times you'll want this, especially if you work professionally as a coder for companies that care about their security. All right, I'm signed in. GitHub is also kind of like a social network. I follow certain people. I can see what they've copied. Fork means to copy a project and then work on it yourself. You can create your own remix of things, right? Or you can contribute. You can make changes to a project and then add it back to the main project. You can create a repository. And a repository means, I guess, like a code project where it contains all the history of the code you write. So you can see the changes of it over time, right? And you can collaborate with others as well. You can star a project, meaning like to bookmark as well as like a project. Like in this case, this has like 2.6k stars. GitHub, remember, this isn't a popularity contest, so it's all good. Anyway, these are the projects that I recently have open or that I'm actively working on. But we're going to create a new project. So in the top right, you can click on this plus and click new repository to create a new repository. You can click on this too. It does the same thing. Or you can even go to github.com/new and yeah, you can create a new repository. So for our own personal website, we're going to reference our username. So if you haven't already, create a GitHub account. It should take a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, maybe. And then choose a name that's quite memorable. It doesn't have to include your real name. You can use whatever name you want, but something maybe catchy. And then once you do, go to github.com/new. And let's do, the repository name will be your username .github.io. And I'll show you why soon. Ultimately, it's going to create a website that's at your username.github.io. And right now, there's nothing set up, so you're not going to see a page there. I'll create a public project so you can refer to this. You can actually copy and paste my code at the end if you want, or fork it. So we're going to create this. We didn't need to check anything else. There's instructions here for multiple ways to get started. But we're going to click on creating a new file to create a new file. I'm going to go back to the thing I created in Notepad. Just copy and paste it here. Notice that this stuff I added, the spacing here was like optional, but it's nice to keep things formatted so it's easy to read when you revisit it in the future, as well as for other people to read too. Did this add a tab? Yes, it did. I'm going to delete these extra spaces here. I'm going to name it index.html. And you'll see, note that the root page or the main page of every website or any website is index.html by convention. So that's why we chose index.html. It's the index or main page of the website. It will automatically fill in the name here of what we chose up here. Create index.html. Yeah, that's good enough. I'm going to commit this new file. And now we have a file here in this repository. So you can actually visit the repository quickly by going to github.com/your username/the repo name. Repo is short for repository. Click enter and yeah, you'll go there. You can click on here to see like the history of changes. You can click on here to see what changed, right? In this case, I created a whole new file. The green is all of these are new lines. The whole file is new in that case. And I'm going to refresh this. It's not open yet. It will take roughly a minute for it to refresh the website online. So yeah, gonna wait let's see if let's wait like 30 more seconds before we go back. One thing that's really cool also is that we can, when we open up a file here, we can click on this pen here and we can edit the file, right? And then you can save your changes. Cool. Now it says update, but I'm not going to edit it there. I'm gonna go back here first. Refresh. Cool. Now it's open. Now you can literally go on this on your phone or whatever device that's connected to the internet and visit your own personal website. How long did that take? 10 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of explaining, but yeah, you can literally create a website like this in like less than a few minutes, right? All right, so I'm going to do something else. Back to the file that's local, I'm going to edit it a bit. I'm going to add an image. And the image is a self-closing tag, meaning that it doesn't have a separate closing tag. It just closes at the end of the opening tag. Open and close the same tag. And it takes an attribute or a property called source. In this case, it takes the file path of the image that we created. So let me go to my downloads folder because I have an image there. Yeah, earlier, if you don't see this extension on Windows, if you go to View, Show, File Name Extensions, you can toggle to show and hide the file extension. So View, Show, File Name Extensions, and Alt F2, possibly Fn if you're using a laptop keyboard. Whoops, wrong buttons. Sorry about that. And that will let you quickly rename a file. I'm just gonna select everything, or and then copy and paste, save it, go back to my browser, refresh. You'll see that there's an image now, but it's large. It's overflowing the whole page. So we're gonna add some CSS to format the appearance of this image. And what we can do here is, I want to close this. Image, whoops, not image, sorry. Style equals, and inside of quotes, put max-width colon 100% semicolon. Save. This is some CSS. CSS is quite broad, but it's another coding language that lets you format the appearance of things and to decorate things as well. So I'm going to refresh this, and now it fits flush. Notice that there's a little bit of a gap here, and that's because by default there's a margin around your HTML document, and we'll leave it as is for now. We're not gonna go too deep due to the limited time I have right now, and to keep this video shorter. So this is a image. Let's add a video too. Video tag. It also takes a source, and I'm not going to self-close it because actually a video is not a self-closing tag, so I'm going to add it like this. You can look into it. It's too much for this video. So I'm going to put in the source here. Whoops, wrong. I'm going to open up my folders again, go to downloads. I have a video here called Sunrise Time Lapse. Whoops. Sorry, not Alt F2, it's just F2, and you might need to hold Fn if you're on a laptop. Control Z. Don't want to rename it. Cool. On Mac, if you press enter, it'll let you edit the name. I'm on Windows, so we have to press F2 for that. So I'm going to save. And then go back here. I'm going to close this. Refresh. You'll see there's an image here, but it's huge. So we can just copy that CSS here as well. There's a different way to write this, but I'm not going to go into it for now, or right now. And refresh, you'll see now it fits. Now you can't play this video because you actually have to add something else, another attribute called controls, and then that will add these controls, and you can play the video by clicking on it. Cool, so now we have a video and an image or an image and a video. Kind of tired. I want to redo this so much to be perfect, but that's gonna waste too much time, or take up too much time, I should say. And I got things to do. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this into here. Edit, copy, and save it. Update. And yeah, we can ignore the other options for now. We can commit directly to the main branch. The thing is, we don't have the image and video here, so how are we going to get to it? So what I'm going to do is add file. Remember, to get to this page, you can go to your username / repository name, up github.com, add file, upload files. Open up the downloads folder again and drag these two things in. Oh no, big files. You're not allowed to upload files bigger than 25 megabytes to GitHub, so I'm gonna have to compress this video. A trick to do it in Windows is if you open it, and then let's pretend to trim. Or sorry, no, let's trim it. But I recently learned that if you actually just trim it a tiny bit, the tiniest bit, and then save. Yeah, I'm going to save as trim for now. Luckily, it doesn't take too long to save. I'm going to close these. Yeah, I barely trimmed it, right? But it compressed it to the point where it's like less than half of the original size, which is kind of awesome. I'm going to rename this to be original, and then this to be to remove the trim, so I don't need to rename it in that HTML file, right? So yeah, I'm going to drag the image over first, and then drag the video over, add media files via upload. But actually, in order to keep it organized, I'm not going to add it to the root. I'm going to add media. You can't add a folder here, so I'm going to go back. And wonder if I can do something like, if I can drag a folder over. Cool. It actually accepts the folder distinction. Add media files via upload. I'm going to commit these changes. All right. I'm going to refresh, because you can see that the image and the video is not found, so it's just going to load like this. And again, now the video and image is uploaded, but it'll take a while for it to update. But actually, we need to update the path here. This should take media / and media /. And actually, there's a better way to edit it than through this GitHub here, or this basic editor. If you press dot anywhere inside of the repository, or the period beside the / on your keyboard, it'll open up this thing, an online code editor. I'm going to close this because now we can just work online. We don't need to use the local stuff anymore. And look at this, there's syntax highlighting, so this makes it easier to read things. And I'm going to add media / and cool, there's autocomplete. It can detect files that are available in the project, right? If you click over here, you can navigate the files in the repo. So media / and then the third icon on the left is for source control. You can see the notification there. You can click on the file and it'll show you what's been changed left and right, which is kind of handy. I'm gonna click on, you can click on this to make it go show and hide, toggle it. I'm gonna press the plus here to stage, which means that to accept all the changes that I made. And stage does not commit it yet. It does not like add it or commit it to history. In order to commit it to history and finalize the change, you have to hit this check mark that says commit. Oh, and you need a message first. Up, fix file path of media files. There might be a better description for this. Prefix of media files. Prefix path of files in media directory. dir for short. You can say folder. By default, I just say dir. Just because it's the shortest version of it. And yeah, I'll click on commit. And notice that this is github.dev. So you can actually go to this thing and open up your code inside of this editor right away, right? Cool, and there's this getting started thing. You can look into that later. But I'm gonna go back to github.com, and you can see now in the history that the change I just made in that online code editor is now reflected here. Refresh. You won't see it because again, it'll take like a minute for it to update the page. And one other thing I want to show you is that this wasn't perfect. Whoops. So the dot doesn't work on this page. You have to go back to seeing the files, and then you press dot here, and it'll open up the web editor. So I'm gonna go open up this index.html, and I'm gonna cut this stuff and HTML:5 and hit tab. What's nice is that you don't need to memorize everything yourself. There's a lot of things, including snippets, which are snippets of code that put in the boilerplate for you so that you don't have to write everything yourself all the time. It saves some time and some typing. We can actually remove this property here for Edge. It's not necessary anymore. This was for older Internet Explorer browsers and older Edge browsers. And notice I skipped a lot of things because I didn't want to take the time to explain everything. Again, because I'm short on time. So note that everything that you want to see inside of a web page is inside of body. However, title is not inside of a web page. Title actually belongs inside of the head. Head is for things that for things outside of the web page, as well as properties describing the web page. And I'm going to remove this extra space there. So I'm going to save this. First, before I commit it, I'm going to refresh this just to show that things are working or were working. If you right click anything or a web page, you can click on view page source. See that, yeah, this is the code that we had. As little as possible, right? Compared to this, all that stuff. But it still works. You can tap on play the video. And but yeah, if you want like a proper, legit, valid HTML code, then it would look more like this. Alright, so I'm going to save this. And yeah, you can see how much more code that was added that I just wanted to skip for a short intro video. And add code to make HTML file valid. Whoops, wrong button. Oh, my bad. You can barely see now. To make code. I'll just call it boilerplate. It's almost like boilerplate, but that might not be the rest word. Missing elements to make HTML code valid. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Again, element is like a whole set of tag, children, closing tag, or maybe it's just a self-closing tag. That's an element as well. So this is, I suppose, elements, or it could be tags as well. That's something that you may want to look into yourself. What's the difference between a tag and an element? Add missing elements to make HTML code valid. All right, so I've staged the changes. I'm going to commit it. And voila, there's your code. There's your personal website. You can learn more. You can Google around to learn more. I can recommend things, but I'm curious to see what you come up with. Yeah, see you next time. Oh yeah, with this you can play around with it 5 to 10 minutes at a time every day, and this should be a good, fun way to get into code while cultivating your garden of a website. Right? All right, bye now. Hope you enjoyed this.